Ever hear of those lost episode things? They say it's a messed up episode of a show that's been changed or removed from a show's original lineup. Well, you probably know, with just a little bit of research and due diligence, that most of these, quote, lost episodes, unquote, are phonies. Right? Right? Maybe it's just easier to see the world that way, to put it in a paper bag where everything is safe and controlled. There is a last episode of The Cosby Show that did air. In the episode, Bill Cosby becomes pregnant due to eating strange mushrooms and gives birth to a submarine sandwich out of what is presumably his vagina. I'm not making this up. You can look it up. Season 6, Episode 8, The Day the Spores Landed. This episode most likely confused and scared test audiences. In fact, the ending was tacked on as being a dream later in syndication because the producers didn't want to ruin the show's canon. Do you still think these lost episodes are fake? But how did that episode end up playing when most of them get pulled at the last minute? The answer may horrify even me. Now look, I'm as much a pro in the Creepypasta community as anyone. I don't always call people out for their bullshit, not even when people make stories called Three Whack Jack, approve of them, and then tell me to take them down even though they already gave me express written consent to do them. But when I do, I wear a hat. I have blonde hair, glazed eyes, and wear a Buffalo Wings t-shirt. I'm a professional in the Creepypasta community, one of the top dogs in this fucking community, alright? I always thought lost episodes were bullshit too. Then I found it. It was at the time of my quintessence of indecisiveness and was pursuing the DVD section of my local Blockbuster. And there it was. The store was going out of business and having a blackout sale. All of the DVDs were $1.00, and they were passing the savings on to the consumer. Now me, being a huge member of the Creepypasta community, know that the only acceptable creepypastas are Squidward's Suicide and There's No Hope, and also Nobody Likes Droopy Dog. Cliche after cliche, platitudes out the ass. Hyper-realistic blood. I scratched my neck and walked to the back of the store in the comedy section, quote-unquote. One was a VHS of Ghost Dad starring Bill Cosby, and another was a Friends VHS slipcase. The two were taped together. Now, I'm not a fan of Friends, but Ghost Dad was a great film. I bought them both for $1.00, thinking I had gotten a great discount on some amazing family entertainment. Oh boy, was I wrong. I still have a VHS player because I like to watch Simpsons reruns. I popped in Ghost Dad expecting to enjoy a great movie, but this VHS would not play. Enraged, I realized the store had a blackout sale and was gone, as was my precious dollar. I figured the other VHS must work. Now, I'm not a fan of Friends. There's an episode of the show in a cabin that's just a little fruity. I'm not talking about pineapples. I picked up the Friends VHS and slipped it off, only to find that the VHS cover had a picture of Bill Cosby making a funny face. It would have been funny if not for the highly superimposed image not being airbrushed. His eyes looked a little bloodshot. I ventured to watch the tape, knowing full well that there may have been something odd about it. And boy, was I correct. The first 2 minutes are really creepy. Bill Cosby walks into the dark set and dances around, swaying his head, lifting up chairs, and snickering. There's something spidery about him, as though he's full of spiders. It's dead silent, and the room is dark. He looks like something is terribly wrong with him. He thinks of something, and he starts giggling. He dances about some more, and then he slips on some green liquid on the floor. He painfully smashes his head into the side of a chair, which breaks, and he lay on the floor, smiling with fake blood dripping out of his head. Bill Cosby wakes up screaming in horror. His wife tries to comfort him. The scene lasts only 3 seconds, and then cuts immediately to Cosby in the kitchen. Theo is seen eating a submarine sandwich while Mr. Huxtable begins to cry. "It's time for breakfast!" Bill yells excitedly. He opens the shelves, revealing row after row of Jell-O and Jell-O pudding. "Do you want your Jell-O pudding?" he yelled excitedly. He opened the fridge to show all of the food was Jell-O pudding as well. "I want tacos!" Rudy exclaimed. Bill Cosby paused. The camera zoomed deep into his face, as though there was something he wanted to tell us. He became disheveled, and his highly realistic eyes became even more highly realistic, filled with anger, the likes of which he never showed on the show. Good acting, eh? A vein popped out of his neck. That's how good it was. "We're having Jell-O," he stated firmly. The scene immediately cut to a disheveled Bill Cosby sitting on his couch with a dead-eyed stare. He was wearing an old A Perfect Circle t-shirt with those little holes t-shirts get from years of use. I had no idea Bill Cosby was even a fan of the Perfect Circle. Rudy screamed. Bill got up, feeling very greasy and dirty. He ran over to the garbage can and stomped his foot violently. He picks nothing up and puts in the garbage. "We'll have to do something about the spider problem," he declares. He looks at the wall where nothing is. He yells at the wall. "Get out of my house! Hey, hey, hey!" He takes off his shoe, throws it at the wall, and then just stands there. He fumbles in his pocket for some note cards, throwing most of them away. A taxidermied wax copy of his own head was over the fireplace in the background. He smiled at his family. "Do you like it?" "It's time for the big chili cook-off," he said intensely, and sent everyone into the other room. There was a little boy with blonde hair in the living room. He had glasses on and was holding 2 more pairs in his pocket. Bill paused for a moment and then counted. He got everyone excited, then picked up the little boy and threw him out the window. He used such propulsive force that he cracked out of the glass and kept going. Bill immediately ran over to the window and violently nailed it shut. "Spiders," he said. "Giant radioactive spiders are coming for us. Put on your tinfoil hat! Hey, hey, hey!" He made the whole family put on tinfoil hats. "Let's all have some Jell-O pudding," Bill said, sounding absolutely nothing like himself. I was beginning to think there was something wrong with Bill's voice. The family looked terribly malnourished. They had eaten nothing but expired Jell-O pudding from the looks of it. Someone slipped a piece of paper under the door in the kitchen, which Bill Cosby read. "Woo!" Bill Cosby screamed. He slammed a broomstick into his wife's face. She fell backwards behind the counter. "Why did you do it, Dad?" Theo yelled. "Her face was covered in spiders." "There were no spiders on her face. I was starting to think there was something wrong with Mr. Huxtable. He started to spray bug spray behind the counter while his wife's legs lay there unmoving." Bill Cosby blew a raspberry and slapped his fucking face. He was snickering to himself while the other two just stood there confused. Theo and Rudy moved upstairs, leaving their mother down there. Bill had left some pudding chili on the stove, which, as you may have guessed by now, was actually just pudding, while their mother was still down there. It began to become molten hot. That chili, quote-unquote, just like pudding. Bill walked out in a Harry Potter outfit and a wand. "It's time for the Halloween party!" he yelled excitedly. I now noticed that there was no laugh track, and indeed the scenes were a bit darker because of it. The lighting was also terrible. Most of the time you couldn't even see what was going on. "Watch out!" Presumably, the bed was covered in spiders. Presumably. Bill's eyes became beady as his daughter clung to his arm. She had 3 keychains of little Barbie dolls attached to her pocket. He paused, and guess what? Again, a vein popped out of his neck. He looked very stern now, very serious in a way that he'd never been on the show. It was more like the work of a dramatic actor as he stared down at the little girl clinging to his leg. "You know, you just can't trust anyone." Sounded like a fucking trucker. Bill put his hand on Rudy's shoulder as Theo grabbed her and ran into the other room. "It's not supposed to be this way! Someone tapped over the ender!" Bill Cosby put on a Spider-Man costume that he found in the closet. It was really dirty, worn, and ripped. "It's okay," he yelled, lurching through the hallway like he was Spider-Man. "Let's have some milkshakes!" They had run into one of the bedrooms and locked it from the other side. He knocked on the door politely. "It's Daddy! Open the door for your daddy!" Rudy went for the door, but Theo grabbed her. Bill kept trying to web-sling the door, but nothing came out of his arm. No fucking shit. He looked disheveled. They picked up one of those old types of telephones that used to be connected to a landline. 911, what's the nature of your emergency? Our father's insane. He's trying to kill us. He thinks we're all spiders. We think he's gone mad. I think. Okay, I want you to unlock the door you're in and go into the hallway. What? Listen to me, the voice said. Go out into the hallway. What part of the South were these? Theo grudgingly opened the door. It's always a good idea to listen to your father. The voice became very Bill Cosby-like and smiled over the phone. It's always a good idea to listen to your father. Bill dove forward, grizzled, and started hitting Theo with a rolled-up newspaper. Ah! He yelled. They ran in the other direction down the stairs. Bill Cosby tripped at the bottom of the stairs and laid there. He fell head first to the sound of a hideous crack as though he had broken his neck. Blood was pouring from his forehead. The scene immediately cut to the family eating a breakfast of Jell-O pudding. The wife was nowhere to be found. Theo and Rudy were sitting there, nervous, shaking. Who wants baby sausage links? He was drinking a beer, his favorite. What if life itself is a dream? After all, those who are dreaming barely acknowledge they're dreaming. Hey. And for those who see it otherwise, the entire cast and crew and cast merely call themselves insane because they're part of the dream. Hey. It wasn't baby sausage links, it was Jell-O pudding. It's Cinco de Mayo! Bill yelled, hitting a spider-shaped pinata with a plastic bat. Instead of candy, creepy plastic spiders fell out. The kind you'd win at Chuck E. Cheese for 30 tickets in the early 90s. 30? That's really generous. Bill had a tremendous bandage on his forehead. He noticed his daughter was using a sewing kit. She now looked rather spidery. Maybe it's just easier to see the world that way. To put in a paper bag where everything is safe and controlled. Then he sighed and threw a chair at her. He chased everyone in the house around, slamming and breaking furniture. It was hard to tell what was going on because the cameraman wasn't bothering to film any of it. Half the time, you only saw Jell-O pudding smear the walls. I fucking starred in Ghost Dad! He yelled, blowing raspberries. The family lay dead on the floor. Let's all order a pizza! Oh. The screen went to black as Cosby made fish faces to the sounds of screaming children. I'm not sure what I was looking at now. It was some formless Bill Cosby figure with a retracted jaw, lifting each of the cast members up and carrying them away. It looked like it was made of paper mache or something. Wake up and see the world for what it truly is, a voice whispered. The house burned down and collapsed. Black smoke filled the screen. The sound of screaming could be heard as the smoke enveloped the screen. Where's my child? Where are my children? You could hear the crying of the actor's voice as he broke down. I'm not sure if it showed him pregnant, but you see him clawing, clinging to the submarine sandwich, reaching forward and crying. I understand now what the figure is. It's not exclusive to this or us, or any one story. All of these! It's... The scene cut off. It was the normal show now, or what I could only assume was the normal show. This part was clearly taped over, edited for syndication, but then re-edited. His son Theo walked out excitedly. Have you seen Dad? Theo said. It was weird. It was like I'd seen the scene before. I was playing a prank on Dad! A prank? When he was relaxing in the bathtub, I poured 60 packets of Jell-O mix in with him. Where is he now? Rudy? There was no answer. The final scene was somewhat disturbing. The camera slowly panned to the bathroom door, which was open. Water was running from the tap and overflowed a little, but it was only dripping. The tub was solidified with Jell-O. Bill Cosby lay in the tub, frozen like a dead deer under permafrost. He had become encased in the Jell-O, preserved like a piece of fruit for all eternity. His eyes stared out, cold, dead. Years had passed. The tape kept flickering. There was supposed to be something else. The Jell-O logo faded into the corner as the screen went to black.